Welcome to a nighttime show, a show where we empower the voice of the people. I'm your host, Harper Wells, and tonight we'll be talking about mentorship. Tonight, we're diving into the critical role of mentorship. Our guest is Jared Kircheimer. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Jared Kircheimer, and I am actually a licensed civil engineer in the state of Illinois, and I worked for almost 30 years in that profession. And at the same time, I had a film company on the side and was trying to get my first feature made. And it took 3 decades, but we finally got it done, and I'm really excited to be here to talk to you about it today. So thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, what inspired you to speak about mentorship today, though?
As a kid, I had a lot of angst growing up, and I had amazing parents, but nobody kind of really understood where that angst came from. And when I was when I was really little, my family was victim of armed robbery, and it was a very traumatic experience that affected my dad for the rest of his life. So I think that's a lot of the reason why I was so sensitive having the family going through that. I always thought it was important to be able to mentor a kid because I never had that kind of mentoring that nobody really understood what I needed. So as I got older, it's something that I wanted to do. And I got involved with Mercy Home for Boys and Girls as a mentor, which is referenced in the movie Say Her that we made. And I just think it's a really important way to improve society, especially if we can pull mentors out of the communities that are most underserved in our big cities. They've suffered the most, and they can provide such an incredible assistance to kids that are going through a lot of the same things they've seen, like in gun violence in neighborhoods and stuff like that. They're so important to me. They're actually the most important people in the world in terms of being able to reach kids that most of us can't reach. So mentoring is such a huge part of making society better, and that's why I wanted to make a movie about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're lucky to have you here today,
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear what you have to say. So let's dive in.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity. So thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right, Jared, can you share with us your personal story? What inspired you to create a film around mentorship and spiritual warfare?
Yeah, so one of the things that I witnessed working as an engineer actually in some of the most challenged neighborhoods in Chicago, all over South Side, West Side, East Side, North Side. I saw a lot of difficult things, particularly a lot of gun violence, a lot of shootings that I witnessed, a lot of mental health emergencies, a lot of kids, really small kids, on the street during school days, school hours, and a lot of drug use. Like I would be on a site and we'd have to pay someone to clean up like 80,000, literally 80,000 drug needles in a small area just so we could start working, so it would be safe to start working. So I just saw a part of society that not a lot of people see, and I wanted to tell a story about the importance of us swarming these neighborhoods, and making life better for everybody. Because not only can we affect the people that are living in this chaos, making their lives better makes the rest of society's lives better because crime goes down and all these things. So spiritual warfare is such an important part of it. I mean, every one of us has to, every day we have to deal with negative thinking, and we have to fight, one by one with each thought that's not productive or constructive for us. So to me, part of this mentoring situation is really training kids how to deal with all these negative thoughts that obviously come a lot more frequently when you're living in a neighborhood that's so underserved and there's so many problems. So spiritual warfare, whether you're religious or not, it's an important thing we all have to do as human beings to be able to treat each other better, be more compassionate to one another, and love each other ultimately. through anything that we're going through. So that's the real reason I wanted to make a movie about it.
Wow, that's amazing, and I love that you're bringing a real experience, real scene experience that's not made up. It sounds like you're going to be sharing like a really honest view of um of a situation as
No,
you get to see.
you're right. And like once you see it, and I'm a particularly sensitive person, so uh, I really carry it with me. The things that I see, I'll never be able to get them out of my head. But I also saw a lot of wonderful things too, like an ice cream truck came up, and there was a crossing guard that bought ice cream for every kid in a neighborhood where I just seen a horrific shooting like 3 days ago. So there's all these beautiful, you know, light that you get to see amidst all the darkness, and that's what you have to focus on. We can make things better for these kids, but we have to start now. We can't wait. We have to start now, and it's going to take a really big effort. There's agencies where want to help with the movie financially. Mercy Home is one of them, which I talked about. Chicago Cred, which was started by Arnie Duncan, the former Secretary of Education under Obama. They're doing incredible things to reduce gun violence and create job opportunities and help kids through trauma. But we really need to support them on a major basis. So I want to start a foundation, with a lot of the proceeds from the film to assist agencies like Chicago Credit and Mercy Home with all the great work they're doing, because they're getting great results, but we need a lot more help for them. So that was the impetus for the film.
I love that.
Thank you.
So in the film, we see the profound impact that Fred had on Clay's life. Was there someone in your own life who played a similar role for you?
That's a great question. Fred, he really went above and beyond in the movie, which everyone will see, to make sure that he was available for Clay, the character that I played, to make sure that he, despite all the challenges that he goes through with mental health and autism, he's able to lead a very productive and beautiful life. I had some great coaches in my life, but I would say the biggest mentor for me, being a religious person, is Jesus. My dad was actually, when I was really young, he saw I was going through some issues as a kid, he saw a lot of the angst that I had and a lot of the rage that I had as a young kid. So he introduced me to Paul, the epistle, and where he talks about love, and that one introduction that he made set me for life. And I told him that as he got close to passing, that one thing you did, you were done as a dad after you did that, because that turning me to the New Testament gave me such a wonderful outlook on life and set my life up for the rest of my days. So that, I would say, Jesus is my biggest mentor, but I did have some great coaches. My dad was a great mentor. My mom was. I learned just a lot by watching them, because they were very hardworking and very good people. Um, but yeah, but Fred, everyone will see in the movie, he's really a treasure of a person, and enabled Clay to live a really phenomenal life that normally he wouldn't have been able to lead, and also be able to pay it forward to a young woman named Abby, who he mentors to the Olympic Games in the movie. So it's a very positive story, even though the character Clay is a really heavy character.
I'm even hearing that from your personal experience. It sounds like it was one thing that was maybe seems small in the grand scheme. There just need to be someone to introduce you to something.
Yeah.
But it had such a huge effect.
No,
So
that's a great comment. Yeah, it's very astute. And yeah, it could have been anything. It could have been like someone turned me on to the acting profession, which I love, something as simple as that. But for my dad, that one thing, turning me on to the New Testament, it just really set me for life. And I got to tell him that a few times before he passed, which is good, because he didn't even remember that he did that. I said, your job as a dad was done at 13 when you did that.
So you tackle heavy topics like mental health, spiritual struggle, and redemption.
Right.
How do you approach making these universal themes relatable to both religious and non-religious audiences?
That's a great question. So Fortunately, Clay, who I play in the film, while he is quite religious, and that stems from growing up at Mercy Home, which is a Catholic-run organization, he's worked a lot in the blue-collar trades, so he's got a little gruffness to him, and also the autism and the mental health issues from everything that he's seen. Um, make him kind of a rough character. And it's those topics you mentioned are not really sexy topics. Mental health is not, but it's the most important topic for us to address, because we need to help each other move forward as society and be more loving and gentle and compassionate and empathetic toward one another. So there's a balance there because he's so gruff around the edges, and one of his um, kind of autistic issues is he's got kind of like a combination Tourette's, PTSD from all the gun violence that he's seen on the street. So when he drops F-bombs during his speech, it's really the gunfire, the automatic weapon fire, he can't get out of his head. That's how it manifests himself. So we can appeal to the religious because there's definitely a religious theme in the film, and he prays, and that's part of his routine when he's at the gym. But because of the gruffness of who he is, a lot of people that are not religious will feel the authenticity and the harshness of what he's seen on the street. So it can appeal to both. And I really feel like the way we sewed it all together, it can and it will, it has to, because the whole point of making a film is to bring us all together from all walks of life, every religion, and atheists too, and agnostics. Um, and I think when people see it, they'll feel that we invested a lot of time building that atmosphere to invite everyone in. That's a great question, though.
And I'm hearing that it's not the focus of the film. While there is talk about
Right.
religion and you'll
Right.
see him praying, but there is a lot more else to the film too.
There's a lot, yeah, there's a lot more to the film. We set it in this incredible world of Olympic weightlifting, and the reason we're so excited about that is it's a sport that's rarely been seen on the silver screen before. And right now, Team USA, for the first time in the history of the Olympics, is one of the best teams in the world just in time for our LA 2028 home games, which is coming up. And the reason we picked that sport is because it's such a hard sport. Like, it takes so many years to dial in the technique, and you have to make hundreds of little modifications in your training to reach the elite level. And it's such a great metaphor for life, in order for us to constantly be fine-tuning, who we are, and to get better and to be more loving to one another. It takes a lot of work to be better as a human being. So that's why I love that setting the movie in the sport. Because it's just a terrific metaphor for that. And I love the sport too, also, and I think a lot of people will also after seeing it.
There's a moment in your film where mentorship feels like a literal lifeline. In real life, what do you think makes a mentor effective, especially for at-risk youth?
Oh, that's a great question, and yeah, we cut a trailer together, to your point, and part of the voiceover in the trailer that we made, it kind of references a cool quote from Marty Schottenheimer, who was a former um, Chiefs football coach, and his motivational speech to his players would be, "Refuse to be blocked. I don't care if it's one person, five persons, 11 people. Refuse to be blocked, and you'll get the job done." And we use that metaphor for Clay because that's what Fred, his mentor, taught him from when he was a little kid. Whenever he had these negative thoughts that would come up, or these evil thoughts that would come up from going through such a hard life as an orphan and witnessing a lot of things on the streets, he would tell him, whenever an evil thought would come to you, refuse to be blocked, tackle it, and one by one, and you'll be able to overcome these negative things and turn everything into a positive.
I mean, it sounds like having the mentor needs to be strong themselves and just have like the
Right.
wisdom to give them the
Right.
messaging things that they
Right.
need to hear for them to instill mental toughness or
Yeah.
just belief in themselves.
No,
Almost.
that's perfect. Yeah, thank you for getting me back on track. So, yeah, so Fred he sensed that that's what Clay needed, so he was able to give him that. And on a broader picture, to answer your question, I think you need empathy, you need the ability to translate an experience that maybe is not exactly what the kid went through, but is similar, so they can draw comparisons. And to me, the most important mentors right now on the face of the earth and the most important work that we need to be doing is grabbing folks that maybe have been through the prison system because they grew up in a very poor neighborhood and they had no choice but to get into drugs to take care of their families or get into crime and thefts or those type of things, and they've come out and they've been reformed. They're the best weapon to go reach the kids to convince them not to go through the path that they went through. And that's what Chicago Cred is doing, one of the organizations that we're going to donate some of the profits from the movie to, that was set up by Arnie Duncan, former Secretary of Education under Obama. That's what these mentors are doing, and to me it's the most valuable work in the world, because they're coming out of the prison system and showing the kids you cannot go this route anymore. It has to change, and it has to start with you. You can be the generation where it stops. So being empathetic, trying to find common ground is important, but actually having gone through the same type of things that the kid you're trying to reach has gone through, that's the most important. And that's why I drew the comparison to what Chicago Cred is doing, because they're doing phenomenal work and we need to be repeating it on a massive level and really exploding the capacity of what they're doing. And that's why we're really excited to get the film out there to talk about it.
Yeah. It's I feel like the being able to relate to your mentor, that's important. And but also too, I heard you even say you don't necessarily need a mentor. There could be a mentor out there who could help someone, but they might be thinking, oh well, I don't have that experience or I don't
Right.
know. But you can still help as long as you have that empathy and have the like the ability to connect with the person.
Absolutely.
You have something to offer.
And that, yeah, as important as the mentoring, like with like the folks that really went through the hard stuff, it's also important to have someone that could be different, but still make that connection, like you said, because the really important part of this whole equation is having a job when you're of age, and having a massive mentoring program with people in the corporate world or the government world or political world. That can be an avenue for someone from any neighborhood to be able to start a job, just because now they have a relationship with someone that's going to give them a chance. So that's a huge point that you're making. It's very important. You're right.
Jared, your story shines a light on the life-changing power of mentorship. If you could deliver one message to the world through your work, what would it be?
The one message, which we kind of touched on before, is really to realize that the most important thing right now is for us to address the most troubled children, whether it be in a neighborhood in an urban area that's affected by gun violence, whether it's a bully in a suburban neighborhood that's not being, taught the proper way to behave, whether it's a kid anywhere in any neighborhood that's starting to demonstrate, antisocial tendencies. We need to have an infrastructure set up in the schools and in our communities to swarm these kids as young as possible, to be able to give them all the positive reinforcement and love that they need, to be able to grow up and have a fun and meaningful and service filled life. And it's a big effort, but that's really what we need to do, because it has to start now in order to reach a generation. If we keep waiting to do something like this, then all the kids are going to slip through the cracks. And no child left behind is like a really common phrase to use in education, but we have to kind of move it past education also and address behavioral and mental health issues when they're coming up very young, so that we swarm kids with all the mental health care and the love and the mentoring that they need. And that's what happens to Clay in the movie. He gets all this love from one person, Fred, and then he's able to pay it forward to a young girl. And that's what it's all about in order for us to transform society, because we've been teaching mathematics and reading and writing for all these years, and we have a lot of benefits from that, but now we got to address the social problem that's causing all the crime and all the suffering and people not having opportunities for jobs. We really have to attack that. So that's really the core of what the movie's about.
The thing that I'm hearing is also the thing that I'm not hearing, which is I feel like so often, even when you say the kids, oh, they're showing the antisocial tendencies or doing something, getting in trouble, I feel like, even from my experience, I don't know if you've seen this, but it's punishment. Punishment removal, go to a different school, go to
Right.
a some type of detention, something, and there's recidivism. And what you are saying is the complete opposite, which is love, mentorship, support.
Yes. And we have to be realistic. There could be very extreme cases, and if you're finding that you're not reaching them through these methods, then there has to be a spot for kids. But even if they do end up going to a special school, or it ends up being a situation like juvenile detention, we still have an ability to improve the situation at those locations to make it more loving and really swarm them, and not just constant punishment. There has to be an effort to, no matter how long it takes or whatever it takes, to get to the core of what the problem is. So yeah, but that's a very good point.
So it can be really difficult for people to find mentors, and not just because people need help, but because we live in a society where everyone's busy, resources are tight, and a lot of people expect to be compensated for their time. In your view, what could communities or societies do differently to make mentorship more available and accessible for those who need it most?
That's a very thoughtful and intelligent question. What I've always had in my mind, and one of the things we want to do with the foundation that we'll set up with the success of the movie, is really encourage private companies, the governmental agencies, to set up like 4 hours on a Friday, and everybody looks at their bottom line and says, "Oh, we can't do that. How could we have somebody go for 4 hours and mentor a kid?" If they want to do it, obviously not everybody wants to, but to have that option available, I think is something we really need to do in order to totally, you know, attack this situation of helping our kids. And so that's something I've always thought about and that we push for. And I'm sure that some government agencies and some private companies would be interested in that. And if not, then we have to really push for more private investment in that kind of thing. But I've always had that vision to make it like a blanket 4 hour window and encourage companies and governmental agencies to do that. And I think people would be interested. It gives people a little time away from work on a Friday, and it's for a good cause.
Right.
So that's one thing I've always thought about.
That's interesting. And so if I'm hearing correctly, it would be you could go to a company and say, would you be interested? Is there someone in your organization who would be interested in being part of a mentorship? And all it would be is you leave your desk a little bit early
Yeah.
that day for 4 hours.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think even encouraging companies to write into their HR programs to say, hey, when someone gets hired, hey, by the way, we have this set up on a Friday. If you're interested in going to tutor a kid, you can leave for 4 hours and you get paid for it. Again, it's 4 hours a week out of a 40-hour work week. I know I worked at a small engineering firm, and I know they would cry about it, but ultimately you're doing so much good. We have to at some point say we're going to sacrifice for our kids, because to see, even though the murder rate is down in Chicago quite a bit, it's a lot because of what Chicago Cred is doing, there still should not be 500 murders in our cities and all the other major cities. We're not doing enough. So and all the other crimes that are going on. So we have to make an investment as a society, and that's how I kind of look at it. So we would probably go around and lobby to try to get as many companies as we could to kind of write this into their HR. It'll take time, but it's just something I thought about that's kind of out of the box, and I think is a cool thing.
Well, but also, you should know that like the amount of people who have the corporate jobs, they leave early on Fridays during the summer because they need to go to their lake house. So instead of going there,
That's a
you can go
great
there
point.
first.
That's a great point.
So Jared, before we wrap up, Is there anything else that you'd like to touch on again, or anything important that you'd like to leave the audience with?
No, that's a great question. Thank you so much. We really wanted to make a film that was different than anyone that different from a film that anyone's ever seen. We didn't follow the Hollywood formula, but there's a reason for every scene. There's a reason for every moment, and it's really we made this film to connect one another on a lot of different levels. And the film, it's really a voice for the voiceless, not just for the kids that are suffering in the neighborhoods affected by all the gun violence. There's a nod to the blue collar work effort that Chicago is so famous for, the city of big shoulders, because Clay, one of the things that he did as a side job while he's trying to get to the Olympics was work construction to support himself. So we have some beautiful shots of construction in our city, and kind of a nod to those unsung heroes, and that also tied really well with the labor nature of the sport. It's like blue collar superheroes is what we call them in the movie. These athletes in the weightlifting profession that not everybody knows about, but soon they will at the LA Olympics when we do amazing. Um, it just tied really to the blue collar work ethics tied really well with them. And we really just made a movie again. It doesn't follow the Hollywood formula, but it talks about a lot of human interest issues that bring us all together, and that's why we made the film. We want everyone to see it and enjoy it. And there's heaviness in it. Some of the topics are not sexy, but there's fun in it. There's unexpected laughter, and there's a lot of heart. And we're really excited to get it out to everybody. So thank you. Thank you again so much for having me.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for sharing your story and your powerful mission with us. Um, I know I'm excited to see the movie.
Thank you.
So please let us know how the audience can find you and also watch the film.
No, that's a great, very important point. So we'd love it if everybody could follow us at Say Her Film on Instagram, SayherFilm on Instagram. We're building our base to show distributors that we have people interested in the movie, and we're not in a huge rush. Normally, you want to get your film out there as quickly as possible, but for us, it's important for us to be financially successful with this film because it's going to help a lot of children. So we're taking our time. We're doing all the work we can night and day to build our social media support. And also, as we inch closer to the LA 2028 Olympics, it's kind of a fun wave to be a part of. And it'll be fun to get people not also interested in the movie, but very much interested in the Olympic movement and the sport of weightlifting, which we're talking about. So that's it. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll also put links in description below so you can find him and the film. So don't forget to follow Jared on Instagram. Join us next time and have a wonderful night.
Thank you, everyone.